meeting of the Anderson Township Zoning Commission. I'd like to have a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. Got a second from Henson. Call roll, please.
Mr. Dunges?
Yes.
Mr. Henson?
Here.
Ms. McBride?
Yes.
Mr. Gothard?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes. Second item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes from the May 20th, 2024. It appears we have the right commissioners here. Take a motion. Well, first off, anyone have anything to change on the minutes? A motion to approve as is.
I'll make a motion to approve the May 20th, 2024 meeting minutes.
A second.
I will second that.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dunges?
Abstain?
Mr. Henson?
Yes.
Ms. McBride?
Yes.
Mr. Gothard?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes. All right, moving along. Tonight we have a public hearing for a major modification for final development plan, case 2-1975 Anderson for 6600 Clough Pike. We'd like to have staff. Paul, if you want to give the report.
Thank you. And I would also like to introduce Sage Morrison. She is our co-op for the semester. She
I'm
helped
sorry?
with some of the materials for the meeting tonight, so she's getting experience with zoning commission and board of zoning.
Welcome, Sage.
This is case 2-1975 Anderson, which is a major modification. The applicant is Randall Merrill of McGill Smith Punchin on behalf of Empower Me Living and on behalf of Clough Investments LLC, who is the property owner. The location is at 6600 Clough Pike, and the zoning there is OO, which is planned office. The request is for a major modification to the final development plan, and is to convert the second story or the second floor into 10 studio apartment spaces with a lounge and activity room, and keep the first floor as office space for Empowering Living corporate offices. Again, the second floor currently is an office use, and this is a proposal to convert it to studio apartment spaces. According to their Empowering Living's website, they are a real estate company that provides housing options for those adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So there will be some minor improvements. There'll be no really improvements to the outside of the structure. It will remain the same and look the same, but there will be an elevator that will be installed with the conversion to residential space. So it's not often that we get a case from 1975, but this was rezoned from A residence to OO planned office, and it was in 1975 by the Rural Zoning Commission, recommended approval to the Board of County Commissioners, who approved it in November. The zone change also included the other office building that's located at 6620 Clough Pike, which is also available. It's the one on the other side of Royal Green. But both of those properties were rezoned at the same time. So this is the site in question outlined in red at the corner of Royal Green Drive and Clough Pike. This is the other building here that was included in the original zone change. An aerial of the site, majority of the parking is along the side and the rear. There is a few spaces in the front here. There is a full access off of Royal Green and then a right in, right out off of Clough. There's a mixture of zoning in the area. Again, this blue area was the rezoning for case 2-1975 planned office. To the north and kind of to the east is Royal Green. That is zoned A community unit plan. We have some A zoning to the north. This is the Historical Society property. Their office is here in the log cabin. Across the street, across Clough Pike is zone DD, which is planned residential. These are the Turpin Hills Alcove Apartments. And then to the south, you have EPUD, which is retail, and there's other retail zoning along Clough Pike. This was the development plan that was approved in 1975. You can see the outline of the building here. Again, the parking, and all of the parking is proposed to remain the same, and most of the exterior of the building, or really all, is proposed to stay the same. These are some of the site photos that we took. This is the front of the building. This is Clough Pike here in the background. Again, they have about 3 parking spaces in the front. The majority of the parking is on the side and the rear. This is looking out toward Clough Pike. This is on the north side of the site. The Historical Society property is over here to the right of the slide. Again, parking. This is the rear of the building, which has a main entrance here. And then this is the other side, the full access coming off of Royal Green. So with the major modification, we look at different findings. First is the zoning resolution compliance. Multifamily or multi-dwelling uses are permitted uses, and this is the kind of the chain that you go through in the zoning resolution. Starts with the OO, refers to the Article 3.10, and then refers you to Article 3.8. So multifamily or multiple dwellings are permitted, is a permitted use in the OO zoning district. We also looked at Article 3.12F, number 1 and 2, gives guidance to the Zoning Commission on when looking at modifications to the final development plan. So staff was of the opinion that, the proposed change of use will only be interior with no proposed exterior. Parking requirements are actually less for multiple dwelling units versus office space. So there's a reduction of parking that is required. So if for some reason, the current use is Empower Me Living, if for some reason that changed to most of their clients, I don't believe drive, but if there were, if there was a change there would still be ample parking. There's plenty of parking for guests. No additional is proposed. The approving resolution, there were a couple of conditions that are applicable. One was that a buffer area to the north, 25 feet, be maintained. Again, there is no proposed changes, and this is in existence. The other required preservation of the natural features of the property, including the wooded bluffs and the creek. Again, no proposed change to this. And looking at the other applicable plans, the trails and walkways plan, there is a sidewalk along Clough Pike. None is proposed on Royal Green, but there are no sidewalks on Royal Green currently and in that subdivision. That subdivision came at a time where sidewalks weren't required. In looking at the Anderson plan and the findings from the Anderson plan, we looked at the different chapters, so the housing, people, and land use and development. And again, we felt all were supportive of this particular request, specifically the housing and the people. And just to reiterate, down here at the bottom, we felt like this is a good opportunity to introduce more residents into the Clough Pike Business District. As you saw from the zoning map already, there's a variety of zoning districts in the vicinity, including multifamily housing that's across the street with the alcove. But this also allows for an opportunity for these residents to, it's a walkable area to the services in the business district. And we feel that it is a compatible use with the businesses as well as some of the other residential, both single family and multifamily in the zoning district, or in that business district. So staff's recommendation is approval based off of these 5 findings. And there were no recommended conditions. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Thanks, Paul. We'll start at the end. Michael?
I have no questions. I have no questions from staff.
I
Ms.
just
Miller?
have one, Paul. Do we have a minimum square footage for studio apartments?
We do not. There is a minimum lot size for studio. Let me find that, but not for the actual
Okay.
apartment itself.
Thank you.
No questions from staff. Thank you.
Okay. Paul, we saw the the letter from the Historical Society. Were there any other written replies?
There were not.
Okay, good. This time, we would like the applicant to come forward, state your name, address, and your affiliation.
Sure. My name is Randall Merrill. I'm Executive Vice President at McGill Smith Punching. I represent Empower Me Living. And my address is 1756 Cottontail Drive, 45150. So I don't know if I could say it better than Paul did. He said everything I would have said to you. It's a great opportunity. Empower Me Living is a great organization, and they're trying to serve an underserved population. And this, because their office will be there, this is a great start project for them. There'll be 10 studio apartments managed and run from this group. I'm sure they can tell you a little more if you'd like to hear about their operations and what they're doing.
Okay.
Okay?
Do you have any questions?
If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to come back up and answer anything specific.
So are they leasing the property from the property owner, or are they buying it?
I believe they are buying it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Contingent on this approval.
Yes.
Maybe leaning towards Ann's question. Are these units, do they have bathrooms and kitchenettes? Is this, so is it not like dormitory or assisted?
Yes.
If you don't mind, if you
Yeah,
come forward, state your
I'll
name.
step away so you.
Name, address, affiliation.
Hi, Emily Kendall. I'm with Empower Me Living, and I live on 7056 Royal Green Drive and work out of 6600 Clough. We will be buying the property from the seller, but as mentioned, this is contingent on us getting this zoning change approved, and the 10 studio apartments will have full bathrooms, likely full kitchens instead of a kitchenette. So that's our plan for these units.
Great, thank you.
Is the second floor currently occupied?
The second floor is currently occupied by the current owner. It's a Hunter Consulting Group. They plan to move out, and they need to downsize, so that's why they're selling the building. They don't need that much space anymore.
Okay, thank you. Other questions?
Yeah, this is happening obviously more and more. All across the country is taking office buildings and converting them to multifamily. So can you describe for us what your typical resident is?
Sure. There are, in the state of Ohio alone, based on estimates, there are about 72,000 adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities over the age of 18, and over half of them live with a caregiver that's 50 or older, which means they're going to be facing a housing crisis, and we are working on solutions to address that crisis and provide housing. We're targeting residents that have gone to programs like UC TAP, which is a program for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities down at UC. Northern Kentucky University has a similar program, and these adults go and gain great skills. They live on campus, but then unfortunately, because there are not a lot of housing options, they go back home and live with mom and dad. And so we want to provide a range of housing options across the spectrum of support needs, ultimately is our goal. And my husband and I are commercial real estate and commercial construction professionals, and we have a 5-year-old son named Luke who has Down syndrome, and he attends Forest Hill schools, and so we think a lot about where he will live when he grows up, and our goal is to take the professional careers we've enjoyed for over 20 years and do something about it.
I think that's great. Would there be somebody living in the facility besides the residents?
That is a great question, and that is something that we're exploring. There's a lot that the state of Ohio and service providers are doing for remote support, and we plan to feature technology. And in addition to ADA, which Paul mentioned, a big focus of ours is universal design, so that anyone can be able to access our living spaces. And as we grow, we plan to have efficient and effective designs using universal design standards and principles. Which we believe, we have, not only do we have a crisis for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, but for seniors and our aging population, how do we design better housing options? It's ultimately our goal.
Just a couple more questions.
Sure.
So the common space, I'll say, is pretty limited. I guess the idea is folks kind of go into their residence and they shut the door when they come back from a job or whatever.
100%. This is an apartment, their own private residence, just like you would have if you leased a studio apartment. But we do plan to have some programming space that we will open up to the rest of the community. There will be a small fitness center and an opportunity for a lounge space on that second floor, and then we will use part of our offices. Our goal is to keep the remaining tenants, should they choose to stay, or look for new tenants that support the IDD community, and then have some community space to extend to our neighbors on Royal Green. We're excited about the partnership with the Historical Society. The VFW Hall, if you haven't driven by there, on any given night is always packed with some kind of activity event. And there's some potentially nice employment options for folks along that retail corridor as well that we're really excited about.
And then just one more question, I'll let you go. Outdoor space, is there going to be any kind of place where they can go and sit outside Coke or whatever.
We would like to potentially incorporate some outdoor space. There is an excess of parking. We don't want to do anything too major, but yes, we definitely want to plan some outdoor space. And there is some existing picnic tables and gathering space. It's kind of hard to see on the current plan, but there's a pathway that connects over to the Historical Society, and there's some opportunities for us to do some outdoor space there.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Currently, how much of the first floor office space do you occupy?
We occupy about 1,500 square feet, give or take.
And then you talked about the universal design and ADA compliance, so each of the studios will be designed the universal design
Yes.
sort of implementation of
That's
ADA
correct.
standards?
Yes.
So we'll all have, accessible toilets, accessible showers, things
Mhm.
like that? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
That's all the questions.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no questions.
Okay.
Okay, at this time, anyone else in the audience would like to speak in favor of the zoning change? Please come forward, state your name, address. Seeing no one. Is anybody out there is opposed, would like to come forward? Okay. At this time, seeing no one else, I will entertain any discussion among the commissioners.
And just to answer your question, there is no minimum size for the units or for the square footage of the property. It's 3,000 square feet per family for the property, but that's for a multifamily dwelling unit. It doesn't specify efficiency.
For student.
Or a studio, neither.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'll just say I have dear friends who are in the same similar position as you are, and that is something that's on their mind. They're my age, and where's Julie going to go with? So I think it's a really good addition to our community. I think it's a great reuse of the building instead of having an empty office building or even a second story that's empty. I just want to make sure that there's outdoor avenues for folks and that kind of thing. But I'm in favor of it.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion?
I'm in favor of it as well. I think buildings need to adapt to the needs of the community over time, and I think this is a great example of that.
Great. Well, this time I'll entertain a motion.
I would make a motion that we recommend approval of case 2-1975 Anderson major modification for the property at 6600 Clough Pike, based on the recommendations of staff and the information that was presented here this evening, to allow the multifamily use of the property within the 00 office district.
I'll second that.
Come second. Roll call, please.
That was Mr. Henson that seconded.
Yes, it was.
Mr. Dunges?
Yes.
Mr. Henson?
Yes.
Ms. McBride?
Yes.
Mr. Gothard?
Yes.
Mr. Lewis?
Yes. Carries 5-0. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Seeing no other business on the agenda, and the deadline for July is next Monday. Right now, we have nothing. So they'll be in touch. Short of that, have a good 4th, and I'll take a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.